Sukiwatu, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Very happy New Year 2021 to all of you. Today is 4th of January 2021 and we have pleasure with us, Dd Leng Huat, to share with us on the recitation and explanation of Dhajagga Sutta to overcome fear. Over to you, Dd Leng Huat.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. A very happy New Year to all of you, to all my brothers and sisters in the Dhamma out there. For this year, I think a good year to start with is to understand fear and how to overcome fear. And that is why I chose the Dhajagga Sutta for us to understand fear and how to overcome fear as advocated by the Buddha. Before I begin, let me just do some small introduction here. Sometimes I've heard let us pay homage to the Buddha. Can I have the screen, Brother Terence, for the homage to the Buddha? Yeah. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, before we begin, I would like to address some questions being asked actually. I've heard before questions being asked about, can we chant all these in English? I would like to add in a bit to this line. You know, the answer given was very good, but I would like to add in a bit. Chanting in English is okay, provided that we can explain the words or interpret it correctly. Correct? We have to be accurate, because the problem we have is because the accuracy of translation into English may not be there. Okay, I give an example. For an example, the word dukkha. Yeah. Let us go back to the first noble truth. Let us go back. The first noble truth is actually, the Buddha says in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha says, Idang ko panabhikkhave dukkhang arya satchang. Arya is noble. Yeah. Satchang is truth. Yeah. And dukkhang. How do we interpret dukkha here? Because many a times we like to use the word, we always say there's suffering, the noble truth of suffering. But there are some speakers out there, they prefer it not to be suffering. They say it's very negative. The word sounds negative. It makes Buddhism to be negative. So they say sometimes they like to use the word like unsatisfactoriness, you know, or they use stress, or they use the word pain, you see? Okay, so the word itself, dukkha, there are many versions, you know. So how do we want to interpret if we do it in English? Now, if we continue the sutta, it says again here, Jatipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyadipi dukkha, dukkho, maranangpi dukkhang, appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, piyehi vipayogo dukkho. So in other words, it's saying here birth is dukkha. How do we interpret dukkha here? Is birth suffering? May not be accurate. Is birth unsatisfactoriness? May not be accurate. So if we say is birth painful, maybe closer, right? So the first word we say suffering, the second time we use it as painful, maybe. So jarapi dukkha, growing old is suffering again. Would you agree growing old is suffering or growing old is unsatisfactoriness? Growing old is painful. Then it says vyadipi dukkhang, vyadipi dukkho. So vyadipi is sickness. Is sickness suffering or is sickness pain? Is sickness unsatisfactoriness? And maranangpi dukkhang, death is suffering, correct? So in this case, we can say death is suffering because people will suffer when you die. When your loved ones will lament, loved ones will miss you, you know. So sickness, you say is suffering, maybe yes, maybe sickness can be painful also. Yeah. Then we say that to be associated, appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, to be associated with things that you don't like is also dukkho. So how do you interpret that? To be associated with something you don't like, is it suffering? Is it inconvenience? Is it stressful? I think more accurate is stressful here. To be associated with things that you don't like is stressful. So we say that to be separated from things that you like is also dukkha. So how do you interpret that? Maybe stressful again here. So what I'm trying to say now is that if you interpret all this in English, if you translate the suttas in English and try to chant in English, you may not get the meaning correct. Because there are many words in Pali that has no English equivalent. The word dukkha has no English equivalent. Yeah. So I personally feel that chanting in Pali is more accurate. Then we learn to interpret it ourselves. We learn to understand the message ourselves rather than you learn it in English and then it may become a bit distorted. You know. So I would prefer that if we chant it, that is why I focus on chanting in Pali. It is because it is more accurate as spoken by the Buddha. And the words have no English equivalent. So that is why. So the word dukkha here encompasses, to me, it encompasses everything. It encompasses suffering, like what we have demonstrated just now. It encompasses unsatisfactoriness. It also may mean painful. It may mean stressful. Correct? It may mean many other things. So when we say that the truth of suffering, many may not agree. If I say the truth of unsatisfactoriness, also some will not agree. If I say the truth of stress, also not accurate, you know. So best if we say the noble truth of dukkha. You use the word dukkha, that's all. So dukkha means it encompasses everything, okay? So that is why sometimes you say we interpret it in English may not be accurate. Yeah. And also we have to say that we chant in Pali. Yes. Another statement we heard is Pali is not the language the Buddha spoke. Correct. And new historians are saying so, you know. But then if you base on the Mahavamsa or the Dipavamsa, which is the Chronicles of Ceylon, which was written 1,000 years ago, it says that when Mahinda, when Thera Mahinda or Arahan Mahinda, you know that Thera Mahinda brought Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Yeah, after the third council, which was actually patronized by King Ashoka. Now, all the teachings were intact. They recited it in what? Historically, it is recited in Pali, the original language spoken by the Buddha. Yeah. So now again, again in the chronicles, in the Ceylon chronicles, it says that when Arhan Mahinda came to Sri Lanka, he preached to King Devanampiya Tissa, and he preached in Pali, you know. When he recited the sutta, he was teaching in Pali. Yes. Except that he made the translation in their local language, which I believe was Sinhala. Right? But it was recited in the books. It says that Arhan Mahinda taught Buddhism to King Devanampiya in the original language of the Buddha, Pali. Okay, so there we say Pali. Yes, the only thing is some people say that the Buddha was more in Magadha like those days. Buddha spent a lot of time in Magadha. So then the Buddha spoke in Magadhi. Yes, we can agree the Buddha spoke in Magadhi, but in our books it says Magadhi is Pali. Pali is Magadhi. Nevertheless, I think we should not worry so much, but all we know is the language of the Tipitaka is in Pali. So we maintain Pali. Yeah, let us not spend too much time arguing on Pali as spoken by the Buddha or not spoken by the Buddha. The original, the first time when the teachings of the Buddha, the Dhamma was recorded, it was recorded in Pali. So we will maintain that. So that is why I like to focus, I like to do chanting so that the teachings are more accurate. As we learn the words carefully, we interpret it ourselves, we understand the Dhamma ourselves through our own understanding. That is why they say Dhamma is for each on its own. Correct? Dhamma is to be understood for you, understood by you on your own. Nobody can help you to understand. They can help you to explain to you and tell you this is the Dhamma taught by the Buddha. You interpret and understand yourself and cultivate that yourself. Dhamma is about actions. Dhamma is about actions. It's not about talking and preaching. Okay. So sometimes also another statement I want to make here is sometimes we hear people say that the Buddha wasn't a prince. You know, he was only a chieftain's son, not a king. You know, but anyway, in many of our books, it says that he was a prince. Right? The kingdom was called Kapilavatthu. Yes, if you refer to the 16 Mahajanapadas, Kapilavatthu did not appear in that 16. So that's why people say that it is not a kingdom. The Mahajanapadas are called the kingdoms, the 16 kingdoms during the 600 BC to 300 BC. During that era, there are 16 kingdoms. Kapilavatthu not mentioned. So that is why people concluded that maybe Kapilavatthu is not a kingdom. But let's not forget sometimes I used to reflect on this that King Suddhodana, that is the Buddha's father, Prince Siddhartha's father. When he had Prince Siddhartha born, he was very happy that he found an heir. Correct? He was happy that he found an heir to his throne. But the Buddha renounced the world. The Buddha felt a bigger responsibility for him to achieve. He renounced the world, he became the Buddha. Then King Suddhodana had a grandson. He was also very happy. The grandson probably can become the heir. Unfortunately, grandson also took and followed the father's footsteps to renounce the world. He had no heir. So I think that was when I believe the Kosala could have easily captured them. Yeah, Kapilavatthu was captured by the Kosala kingdom. That's why it's not shown there. Maybe, because these are all, but anyway, like I've said, we are not interested in all these things. What we are interested today is the Dhamma. The Dhamma that will bring us to liberation, not these small historical facts and arguments that we make. But I'm just making a small statement here not to invite any criticism or not to invite anybody to say anything. It's just how I feel, okay? So if it's not accurate to your views, I apologize. Yeah, but these are the views that I keep. Yeah, and I believe that the Dhamma is more important than establishing the truth, whether Buddha spoke Pali or not, rather than establishing the truth, whether Kapilavatthu was a kingdom or not. So these, or whether these are things lah, but we learn it carefully. Okay, so with that now, I would like to chant the Dhajagga Sutta to encourage the people out there to also learn chanting eventually. We all want to have unison chanting. It is our ambition that we want to have universal chanting together. Unison chanting. So let us now refer to the Dhajagga Sutta as shown on your screen. Let us chant. If you can follow me, you please follow me. Otherwise, just try to listen. It may take about 12 minutes. So just bear with us because I have just explained the importance of chanting. So bear with us. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava savatiyang viharati jetavane anata pindikasa arame tatrako bhagava bhikkhu amantesi bhikkavoti Badante tite bhikkhu bhagavato paccasso sung bhagava etadavoca bhuta pubbang bhikkave deva sura sangamo samu pabbulho ahosi hatako bhikkave Kave sakko devana mindo deve tavating se amantesi sache marisa devanang sangamagatanang uppajjaya bahyang va chambitathang va Loma hangso va mameva tasming samaye dajaggang ullokeyata mamang hivo dajaggang ullokeyatang yang bhavisati bayang va chambitathang va loma hangso va so pahisati Noce me dajaggang ullokeyata atta pajapatissa devarajassa dajaggang ullokeyata pajapatissa hivo devarajassa dajaggang ullokeyatang yang bhavisati bayang va Chambitatang va loma hangso va so pahisati noce pajapatissa devarajassa dajaggang ullokeyata atavarunassa devarajassa dajaggang ullokeyata Varunassa hivo devarajassa dajaggang ullokeyatang yang bhavisati bayang va Chambitatang va loma hangso vaso pahisati noce varunassa deva rajassa dajaggang ullokeyata ata isanassa deva rajassa dajaggang ullokeyata Isanassa hivo deva rajassa dajaggang ullokayatang yang bhavissati bayang va chambitatang va loma hangso vaso pahisati tangko panabhikkave sakkassa vade Deva mindassa dajaggang ullokayatang pajapatissa va deva rajassa dajaggang ullokayatang varunassa va deva rajassa dajaggang ullokayatang isanassa Isanassa va deva rajassa dajaggang ullokayatang yang bhavissati bayang va chambitatang va loma hangso vaso pahiyeta pinopi pahiyeta tang kissa hetu sakko Kave devana mindo avita rago avita doso avita moho biruccambi utrasi palayiti ahang cako bhikkave evang vadami sacce tumhakang bhikkave Aranyagatanang va rukamulagatanang va sunyagaraгаtanang va uppajjaya bayang va chambitatang va loma hangso va mameva tasming samaye anusareyata Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manussanang buddho bhagavati Mamang ivo bhikkave anusaratang yang bhavissati bayang va chambitatang va loma hangso vaso pahisati noce mang anusareyata ata dhammang anusareyata Swakato bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akaliko ehipassiko opanayiko paccatang veditabbo vinyuhiti dhammang hivo bhikkave anusaratang yang bhavissati bayang va Chambitatang va loma hangso vaso pahisati Noce dhammang anusareyata Atta sangang anusareyata Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Sami Cipatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang cattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala Esa bhagavato savaka sangho Ahuneyo, Pahuneyo, Dakkineyo, Anjali Karaniyo, Anuttarang Punyakketang Lokasati, Sanghang Ivo Bhikkave Anusaratang, Yang Bhavissati Bhayang Vacham Vitathang Va, Loma Hangso Vaso Pahiyissati Tangkissa Hetu, Tathagato Bhikkave Arahang Samma Sambuddho, Vitarago, Vitadoso, Vitamoho, Abhiruachangbi, Anutrasi Apalayiti, Idamavocha Bhagava Idang Vatva Sugato, Ataparange Tadavocha Satta, Aranye Rukka Mule Va, Sunyagare Va Bhikkhavo, Anusareta Sambuddhang Bhayang Tumhakano Siya, Noce Buddhang Sareyata, Loke Jittang Narasabang, Atta Dhammang Sareyata, Niyanikang Sudesitang, Noce Dhammang Sareyata, Niyanikang Sudesitang, Atta Sanggang Sareyata, Punyakketang Anuttarang, Evang Buddhang Saranatanang, Sarantanang Dhamma Sanggang Ca Bhikkavo, Bhayang Vacham Vitathang Va, Loma Hangso Na Hesati, Etena Sajja Vajjena Dukkha Vupasamentu-te, Etena Sajja Vajjena Bhaya Vupasamentu-te, Etena Sajja Vajjena Roga Vupasamentu-te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So I need to catch some breath now, isn't it? Okay, so we come to the explanation for this sutta. Yeah. So what I would like to stress it. Yeah, actually, I also must give credit for learning this sutta under Venerable A. Ratanasiri. The first time when I heard this sutta was from him. Little did I know that Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddha, which I knew when I was young was a very good protective chant, but I never knew that it came from the Buddha himself. I always thought this was man-made. This was just a psychological thing that men tell you and then you chant. But after having studied the Dhajagga Sutta, I realized that these were actually taught by the Buddha. The Buddha also advocated for such things, chanting and all that. This culture was practiced also during the time of the Buddha. Chanting is not a mumbo jumbo. You know my term of mumbo jumbo here. Chanting actually also was practiced during the time of the Buddha. This is one of them. And also not forgetting your Ratana Sutta. In the city of Vesali, where there was plague there, so the Buddha was invited to go there, and the Buddha taught Ananda and told him to take the Buddha's alms bowl, put water, chant the Ratana Sutta, and sprinkle water around the city of Vesali. After 7 days, they overcome all this plague problem. Yeah. So meaning to say that chanting was also practiced during the time of the Buddha. Okay. It is not just a mumbo jumbo like what we used to think. It's just man-made. you know, but no, it is practiced in the time of the Buddha. Okay, coming back to our Dhajagga Sutta, okay? In the first stanza, we hear Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava Savatyang viharati jetavane anata pindikassa arame. So what does we here? Okay, like I've said, we always catch a few words to understand the sutta better. Evang me sutang is mean to say that this, thus I've heard. And who says this? Thus I've heard is mentioned actually, meaning to say that this was actually recited by Ananda in the first council. Maybe because in the first council, Ananda was quite a junior monk. He only became an arahant on the eve of the first council. Therefore, he has to say that thus I have heard, meaning I heard from the Buddha, or I heard from somebody else that this is what the Buddha taught. Okay, so that's why Evang me sutang means. And who is Ananda? Okay, I was told that tonight we may have some new friends who are joining us tonight from Penang. Okay, I will try to explain to you who was Ananda. Okay, Ananda is the first cousin of the Buddha. From our books, it says that Prince Siddhartha and Ananda both were actually from Tusita heaven. Both were born on the same day on earth. In this world, they were born on the same day. Prince Siddhartha's father was King Suddhodana, while Ananda's father was King Suddhodana's brother. So they were first cousins. So when the Buddha, one day when the Buddha was at about 55 years old, he said that maybe he should need a new attendant. Yeah. So nobody dared to volunteer, or some did volunteer, but the Buddha did not agree. Everybody did not volunteer to be the attendant of the Buddha. Is a very prestigious position. People all will respect you, you know. So what happened was they all proposed and suggested that Ananda should be the personal attendant of the Buddha. That time he was the Buddha already. Yeah. So, but before Ananda accepted that assignment, Ananda has 8 requests. Okay. His first request was, he told the Buddha that whatever robes that the Buddha may have, the Buddha may receive from devotees, the Buddha should not give him these robes. Okay. That robe given to the Buddha. Ananda says, you must not offer that to me. Don't give it to me. The reasons and all that, as we understand Buddhism deeper and deeper, we will see the reason. At the moment, we will just keep order. Okay. Then the second thing Ananda requested was, in your alms bowl, food in your alms bowl, also don't give to me. Right? He's a very humble man, in short, like we say. Then he says that even if devotees were to offer you a new dwelling place, do not offer that to me. Okay, Ananda says these are the conditions, 3 conditions. The fourth condition, Ananda says, when you go for your dana and when you have your dhamma sharing, don't include me. Okay, Ananda refused to join him for all this. Right? Now, then Ananda says, my 5th request is, Ananda says, if Ananda is invited to go for dana, I must have the privilege to pass it over to the Buddha to go. Right? You see, he can transfer the invitation to the Buddha. Okay? That was his 5th request. His 6th request was, in the event if the Buddha does not know the place for dana, if it's far and the Buddha does not know the place, then he says, I will have the privilege to lead you there. Okay? I show you the way there. Okay, that was his 6th request. And the 7th request, Ananda says, if I have doubts in the Dhamma, at any time, if I have doubts in the Dhamma, I should have access to the Buddha when he's free and to ask him to explain. Okay, agreed? The Buddha agreed. And the last request, the one that we popularly know, is that Ananda requested that whatever teachings the Buddha had given in the absence of Venerable Ananda, the Buddha must repeat that teaching to Ananda. But he doesn't want to miss anything the Buddha has taught. Being an attendant, he's so busy looking after his things and arranging things for him. He may miss the talk. He says, whatever I miss, you must repeat to me. So these 8 conditions were requested and Buddha agreed. Okay? And Ananda is known. The next quality is that Ananda is known to have a very fantastic memory. His hard drive is very powerful. Today's language means his hard drive very good. He can store a lot of things, you know. So all those things taught by the Buddha, Ananda could remember it. Okay? His hard drive is very powerful. So he has a very good memory. That was why after the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha, after the passing of the Buddha, in case there are some new people who are here who does not know what this Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha is, the passing of the Buddha. So when the Buddha passed away, 100 days after that, they had the first council. The purpose of the council is to make sure that all the teachings of the Buddha remained intact. The Buddha taught all verbal. It's called the Bhanaka system. The Buddha taught it all verbally because the Buddha does not want it to be written. Not because there were no writing material then, you know. Sanskrit was a written language. So they must have written material then, but the Buddha did not want it to be written because the Buddha wanted it to be by the Bhanaka system. So that, like I've said just now, when you chant in Pali, it is in a poetry form. These things are not distorted. These will be remembered by heart by people and it will not be distorted. If it is written, it will be written in essay form. People can't remember and people put their own views and it will be distorted. So the Buddha says no. Only verbal instruction. That is called the Bhanaka system. Okay? So the Buddha taught that way. So when the Buddha passed away, 100 days after that, 100 days after the passing of the Buddha, after the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha, they had the first council. And Ananda, and that council was only Arahants were invited. So Ananda became an Arahant on the eve of the council day. And Ananda went there and he recited on the Sutta Pitaka. Ananda recited the Sutta Pitaka of the Tipitaka of Buddhism. Our Tipitaka, the book, the Buddhist book. And also Venerable Upali recited the Vinaya. And all this recitation were reconfirmed by the other 499 monks. Okay, there are 500 Arahants there in the first council. After Ananda has recited, 499 of them must endorse and say, yes, this is accurate and this is what is said by the Buddha. And that was the purpose of the council. And that was the purpose of the recitation. That was the purpose of the sutta, so that we remember it. It is written in the poetic form. Earlier I told you, all the suttas, either they have 8 syllable or 10 syllable or 12 syllable. They are in the poetry form, easy to remember. So if you make an effort, you can recite the sutta by heart because it is in the poetry form. Of course, I'm not advocating you to remember the Dhajagga Sutta, it's too long, but at least the Metta Sutta you can remember. At least Itipiso you can remember. At least Swakato you can remember. So these are the simple ones, the shorter ones you can remember. It is not impossible, okay? Because they are written in the poetry form. Okay, so that was the basic quality of Ananda. I have introduced Ananda to you now, because I think for new people, they would like to know who is Ananda and what is Evang Me Sutang and all those things. Okay, so we'll continue. It says here, Savatiyang Viharti Jetavane Anatha Pindikasa Arame. Jetavane, again, you must remember, it is at the Jeta Grove, at the monastery called Ananda Pindika. Anatha Pindikasa Arame is the monastery of Anatha Pindika. Okay, at Jeta Grove. Jeta Grove is named after the prince whose land, that land belongs to the prince, and he partly also donated and by building a big, what you call it, arch in front. Okay. So now we'll continue. And we go to the stanza number 2. So the Buddha says, okay, we just continue. Tatrako Bhagava Bhikkhu Amantesi Bhikkhavoti. Then he addressed the monks and saying, "O monks." So the monks say, "Venerable Sir," replied the monks, in essence to the Buddha's, to the Blessed One. Then the Buddha started, "Bhagava etada vocha, the Bhuta Pubbang Bhikkave Deva Sura Sangamo Samu Pup Bulho Ahosi." There he says, "Monk, I shall relate to you a former incident." Okay, where are we now? Let me look at your screen now. Okay, I think it's the next screen, please. This was it. Okay. So here the Buddha says, "O monks, yeah, I shall relate a former incident that arose a battle between Devas and Asuras." Okay, Devas and Asuras. Then Lord Saka, the Lord of the Devas, addressed the Devas of Tavatimsa heaven thus: "Happy ones, if the Devas who have gone to battle should experience fear or terror." Because I'm using my handphone, I find it difficult to read on so I'll be reading on my book, okay, from the book. So our words may not be accurately synchronized. So he says that, "Happy ones, if the Devas who have gone to battle should experience fear or terror or suffer from hair standing on ends, let them behold the crest of my banner. If you do so, any fear, terror, or hair standing on ends arising in you will pass away." So what did Lord Saka say? Lord Saka is king of Tavatimsa heaven. He told them that when you go to war, if you feel frightened, look at my banner. Look at the banner of Lord Saka. It will inspire you to overcome your fear. Right? So that was his message. Now, I want to elaborate here. Okay? Now, here maybe we look at what is Tavatimsa heaven and what is Deva and Asuras. Okay? Now we will probably take a look. Okay. Now you look at, okay, in Buddhism, we have got 31 planes of existence. Okay? I want to tell you where is Tavatimsa heaven. Okay? And who is the Asuras. Right? So the 31 planes of existence, I think we divide into 4 categories. Category number 1 is called the Arupa Loka. That means the formless planes. Okay? The second category are the Rupa Loka. That means those are the planes with flames. Those are, right? Then we come to, oh no, we go down now. Just now was okay. Just now was correct. Okay. So now we are at this plane. This plane is called Kama Loka. That means sensual planes. Planes where they have got sensual pleasures. Good. Okay, this plane, which is occupied by the humans, number 1, and the 6 Deva realms. Okay? Now, human and 6 Deva realms is called the Kama Loka. Okay? So above the human realms is Chatu Maharajika. Then above that is Tavatimsa. That is the heaven that we are focusing today. Tavatimsa is 2 levels above the human realm. And then we got Yama, then we got Tusita. Tusita is 4 levels above the human realm. That is where, okay, sorry, we'll go back to Tavatimsa. Tavatimsa is where Queen Mahamaya is reborn. She was in Tavatimsa. And that was where the Buddha went over through meditative skills to teach the Abhidhamma to the Devas in Tavatimsa and to Queen Mahamaya. That's the thing about Tavatimsa we have to remember. Then Yama, then Tusita. Tusita is where all the past Buddhas and the future Buddhas will live before they are born into this world to become the Buddha. They all will be from Tusita heaven. And then the other 2 is, okay, the other 2 It's called, I can't see my screen. Nimarati Deva realm and Paranimita Vasavati Deva realm. So these are the karma lokas. Okay. Now, let us just focus, use it as a focal point, the human realms. Okay. Human realm as our focal point. So we remember 6 realms above us are the devas that today we are addressing, and which is all in, we are addressing the devas in Tavatimsa. Right? And below us are the 4 Apaya Bhumi, the suffering plains, right? That is where we have got the plane of Azura just below us. Azuras are below us. And below that Azura is the hungry ghost realm. And below the hungry ghost realm, we say is the animal realm. And below are the hell realm. Many, many hells. And the worst hell, where it is burning all the time, is the Avicii hell. Hell where there's fire burning all the time. So that is called Avicii hell. So 4 lower realms, 6 upper realms and ours. Okay. And now we will talk about Azuras. Now I just mentioned to you, below humans are the Azura realms. That is a suffering realm. Huh? And the Buddhas, and in our Dhajagga Sutta, we are saying that the Devas are fighting the Azuras. Devas are not fighting with this level of Azuras. Don't forget, huh? This is a different level of Azuras. These Azuras cannot fight the Devas. They are in the suffering state. They are in the low state. The Devas are in Tavatimsa heaven. Impossible for them to fight. But these Azuras we talk about are the Azuras who are also from Tavatimsa heaven. There are 2 kinds of Azuras here, you know. Yeah? So these Azuras are from Tavatimsa heaven. When they were living in Tavatimsa heaven with Lord Saka and the other kings, they were always drunk. They were always enjoying themselves and always drunk. So what happens is, one day Lord Saka and the other rest of the king, they chase them out of Tavatimsa heaven. They only have more peace in Tavatimsa heaven now, rather than getting all the drunkards there. So they were chased out of Tavatimsa heaven. So they were living in, some says, it's at the foot of Mount Meru or anywhere in the corner somewhere. Okay? So that is the Azuras we talk about. That is why they are bitter with the Devas in Tavatimsa. They are always fighting. Okay? Although we know very well that we humans, I've said this yesterday in my Dhamma sharing on, for Sunday Dhamma sharing, that every human beings are looking for happiness. Correct? Every Deva also look for happiness. Correct? Nobody is looking for pain and unhappiness and sadness. Every living being, the main target is happiness. That's why we wish you a very happy new year. And I've explained to you what is Happy New Year from our context. There are 4 kinds of happiness. I'm not going to repeat that. Huh? You can refer to the, I think it's downloaded in the YouTube or what. So there are 4 kinds of happiness. That's why we wish happiness. So everybody, you know, you realize that everybody is looking for happiness. Every human being is looking for happiness. Every other devas in these 6 realms are also looking for happiness. But Lord Saka realizes that, yes, everybody is looking for happiness. I know. When these humans pai to me also, pai to King Kong, Lord Saka is actually King Kong from our context lah. From our culture, it is King Kong lah. So on the 8th night of the Chinese New Year, many Chinese will be praying to this Lord Saka. Right? We pray to Lord Saka. What do we pray for? For peace. We pray for happiness. Yeah, we pray for everything to be good and smooth. Right? So also the Devas living there. The Devas in Tavatimsa, the Devas everywhere are also all looking for happiness, conducive place to live. Everybody wants to live in a conducive place. So one day, Lord Saka realized that, yes, although everybody is looking for happiness, looking for peace, looking for everything, but there's no happiness in the world. There is still a lot of kacau-kacau here and there. Huh? There's still a lot of people being bullied. There's still a lot of suffering, a lot of insecurity, a lot of social ills, wars, quarrels, and everywhere. So what is the meaning? Everybody is praying for this, but why are they still fighting? So one day, Lord Saka came down, knowing that there is a Buddha now in the world. Lord Saka came down with his entourage of all the devas and approached the Buddha and asked the Buddha. Now, although all beings long for happiness, security, peace, freedom, but still afflicted by quarrels and wars. Why? Right? Why? So they asked the Buddha, why? Buddha, everybody pray to me, also ask for peace, ask for security, ask for all these things, but yet they're fighting. Why? Then the Buddha says, these quarrels, these fights, this insecurity, this unhappiness are all caused by the fetters of envy. Envy and miserliness. In the Pali language, envy is called issa. Issa and macharya. Okay? These two fetters are causing all this fighting to go on. Why? The envy, because when people are envious, when they don't get what they like, they are jealous of the friends getting it. Correct? If there's a scholarship, their son did not get, the neighbor's son get a scholarship, they are jealous. Correct? And if they have things they don't want to share with people, that is the problem. When they have land, they don't want to share with people. Correct? So this is the problem for all the wars. I probably have to cut it short because time is running out. So the cause of all the wars, the Buddha says, cause of unhappiness, cause of everything is because of issa and macharya. It is because of envy, jealousy, and selfishness. People are being very selfish. They don't want to share. My land got oil. I don't want to give you oil. You want, you buy from me. Right? Everything that we have is ours. So we are always very, very, very protective. Miserliness is the cause, the Buddha says. Miserliness as the cause of all this war. And what kind of miserliness is because people are very miser. People want to protect their land. People will think this is my land. I protect. You don't come. This is my friend. These are my associate. You don't mix. You know. These are my material, not yours. Don't take. Don't share. These commendable attributes are mine, not yours. You no good. You know. And they learn things they want to share also. So this is what the Buddha says: miserliness. And this is the cause of all the unhappiness. Then, but Lord Saka is not happy with that. Lord Saka said, then what is the cause of this envy? Right? Then Lord Saka asked the Buddha, but okay, what is the cause of the envy? Then the Buddha says the cause of envy is because of love and hate. Because we like things, we protect them. We don't like something, we hate them. We don't like to be in that situation, we hate them. So that is the cause, because of love and hate. So love and hate, if our loved ones excel, we are very happy, what? Right? We are very proud, we are egoistic. But if our loved one doesn't excel, neighbors excel, we become jealous. That's why you say, so we so love and hate. So it's love and hate that cause jealousy and miserliness. Okay? And again here, Lord Saka is still not happy. Lord Saka asks again, then what is the cause for love and hate? Then the Buddha says, desire is the cause of love and hate. It's because we like to desire things so much. And all these desires are all things that are actually attributed to or associated with sensual pleasures. That's why we say we must restrain our sensual pleasures. We must restrain our five senses so that we don't get too attached to sensual pleasures. Because sensual pleasures are the ones that bring more craving. It doesn't make you contented. So that is why the Buddha says the cause of love and hate is all desire. Desire for sensual pleasures. Then of course, Lord Saka is still not happy, and Lord Saka asks again, what is the cause for desire? Correct. So the Buddha says cause for desire is vitakka. Vitakka means discursive thinking. Thinking that's not deep, thinking that's always floating around, always jumping, not firm. Okay, so discursive thinking. Okay, the discursive thinking is the cause of desire. So one of the discursive thinking cause for desire is the desire for sensual pleasures, of course. The next one is the based on belief. Sometimes based on belief is the problem. They have too much desire to protect the belief. Okay, and people go to war with this belief. So then Lord Saka asks again. Lord Saka asks, then what is the cause for this discursive thinking? What is the cause? Why are people like that? Why are people thinking like that? Then the Buddha says, because this discursive, I hope I'm not going too fast now. Because the Buddha says that the cause for this discursive thinking is actually our perception. Perception means our preconceived ideas of the things. Preconceived ideas of the thing. In our Pali context, the word is papancha. Papancha sanya. Yeah. So these papancha we have inside us are preconceived ideas that we know that the thing is good, no good. We have already fixed it in our mind. And that is the cause of all this discursive thinking. Because we have already decided this in our mind. That is why we say let go. We must let go of all this kind of papancha. Things that sometimes it is inside us that we know we like or we know we don't like. Before it can happen, we already made our conclusion. And that is papancha. That something happened, we conclude that way. Right? I would like to give you examples of papancha, but time is running out. But maybe next week we'll continue a bit on papancha. So this papancha, the Buddha says there are three kinds of papancha. One is craving, craving is tangha, right? Also, the craving leads you to have a conceited mind. The mind becomes conceit. So there's a second kind of papancha we have. It's craving, it's conceit, and also it's belief. Sometimes it is just blind faith. Right? We think it is right. We think we have to protect this. We think that is right. So people go to war because of belief. Right? Because of papancha in them. Right? So remember, when we crave, too much craving, your mind might become conceited, and then it becomes a firm belief, then it will continue and cause a lot of problems. See? So although everybody wants happiness, everybody wants everything, we still face this kind of difficulties in life. Yeah. So now we should also go on the point of how to overcome this. Next week, we will talk about how to overcome all these kind of problems from fear. Yeah, Dhajagga Sutta next week. Actually, we have got 3 Mondays to finish. We will try to do as fast as we can. Right? So with that, I think I have taken a lot of your time. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I will thank you very much for joining me, and I hope this is useful to you. The Dhajagga Sutta is useful to you. It helps you to understand fear later. It helps you to overcome fear. So we will cover that next week. So with that, then let's do some dedication. On this auspicious night of the 4th night of the new year, I think, 4th night of the new year today. We have spent some time with me, some time listening to my sharing. During such time, our mind is composed and focused, and no unwholesome thoughts are there. And during times like this, when our mind is free from unwholesome thoughts, we accrue abundance of merit, and these merits we share with all our guardian deities, all the protective devas that protected us, our family members, our property. We dedicate, we transfer all these merits to them, we share these merits with them, and we hope that eventually they too will attain the perfect bliss of Nirvana. And also these merits we must dedicate to our loved ones who have passed away, wherever they may be. Let us recall them by the names. We dedicate this to them and hope that these merits can reach them and help them in their spiritual well-being. However, if they're born on the celestial plane, may they too rejoice in these merits and shower their choices, blessings, and protection to all of us here. But in the event if they need these merits spiritually, may these merits reach them and help them in their spiritual well-being. By virtue of these merits, may we be blessed with company of the good and the wise always. May we not deviate from the teachings of the Buddha Dhamma. So let us recite together. Akasatta ca bummata deva naga mahidang anumodetva loka sasanang ettavata ca ammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva sabbe satta sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Dd Leng Huat. If you all have time, do join us tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. for the Tuesday guided meditation by Prago Adibalo from Singapore. Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Happy New Year.